We're ready to start our regular council meeting for Wednesday, April 29th, 2026.
Sure.
Our mayor has another commitment, so you're going to have to put up with me. I have the gavel, so let's everyone behave. The meeting will be streamed live and recorded for public viewing on the town's YouTube page using the following link that's shown. I'll do the land acknowledgement. Have to put up with me. I don't do this often, okay? We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. I ask anyone on council if they have a pecuniary interest to declare it at the appropriate time. And we have a delegation, Mr. Adam Veen. He's the interim executive director of Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. And he's going to give us an update on their current priorities and ongoing initiatives to support tourism development across Lambton County. So pay attention. He's going to promote Plympton-Wyoming, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay.
So residents of Plympton-Wyoming, staff, councillors, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. There's been some organizational changes with Tourism Sarnia-Lambton, so I just want to do a quick update, showcase who's working with our organization right now, where our mandates are, and where we're headed in the future. I'll try and keep it short. It seems like it's going to be a busy agenda here today, so I'm just thankful for the opportunity to speak in front of council today. So I'm here on behalf of Tourism Sarnia-Lambton, and I'm going to focus on collaboration and opportunities. I'm going to touch on some of the impacts that we're seeing in the market and where we see opportunities locally and how tourism can realistically grow here in Plympton-Wyoming, and how we can work together between the staff here at Plympton-Wyoming, the councillors, and with Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. A little bit about our organization. So we are the regional destination marketing and development organization. So we exist to drive economic growth through tourism across the region. We focus both on marketing and destination development. So it's not just promotion. What we do is we build experiences and we help promote those as well. Our vision is to be the leader in tourism destination, working with all levels of government to strengthen our infrastructure and experiences. So yes, we promote the region, but just as importantly, we work with municipalities such as yourself to help turn local assets into real marketable experiences that bring people into the region and generate economic activity. So we have some updates, as I mentioned at the start here. So I was just going to go through a little bit of our staff and what each member kind of oversees in our group and where they can help. So I am currently the interim executive director as well as the marketing director for Tourism Sarnia-Lambton. So I handle and oversee all of the marketing directives for the organization, as well as some of the high level administration stuff through the executive director role. We have Bailey Tremblay, who is our culture and entertainment programming coordinator. So a lot of the elements that she works on include bringing conferences to the region, any cultural events that we're doing, as well as some of the entertainment and event sports and the assets that we can assist on that, whether it's finding accommodations for them, helping develop requests for proposals to bring things into the region, or just providing additional information and resources. We also have a new hire, Tara Jeffrey, who is our destination marketing coordinator. So she works closely with me in the marketing role to create, develop, and tell stories about the region. It's a lot of content creation in the marketing world, and having Tara on our team is definitely an asset. As well, we also have Jessica Capes, who's our office administrator and visitor experience coordinator. If anybody's been out to our Point Edward visitor office, we do have a tourism office that welcomes people as they cross over the Blue Water Bridge. So we have a visitor center that highlights different regions, any businesses that you have that has promotional material, make sure you get in touch with her, put it on our brochure rack, because we get people all over the time, from all over the world that want to just drive around and experience new elements, and having that information is always key to pass on to the consumer. And as well, we have a finance and bookkeeper that has been working closely with us here in the recent years. So just to give a little bit of overview of where we've been over the last 4 years, we had a core strategic plan for the 2023 to 2026 year, which really was working on marketing and destination development, advocacy on the tourism sector, and education on the economic benefits of tourism. So we were really trying to teach businesses not just to be a retail or a one-stop shop, having to develop them into a tourism entity which could further reach a new audience and bring a more customer base to them as well as to the region. The key sectors that our board of directors did through their strategic planning for the last 4 years were entertainment, events, and culture. Obviously, our waterfront and beaches is one of the strongest assets that we have along Lake Huron and St. Clair River. Recreational tourism, culinary tourism, which is our food and drink industry, and working to bring in conventions, trade shows, conferences, those kind of elements. So we really wanted to touch on the value of tourism, because tourism continues to be a major economic driver across Ontario, and we are seeing strong growth in domestic travel. But what's important at that local level is that tourism dollars don't just stay in one place. They move through the restaurants, the shops, fuel stations, local business. So even small increases in visitation can have a meaningful impact across your community. Over the last year, some quick facts that we have, we did see 1.8 million Canadian visitors in 2025. Domestically, that's an 8% growth for those visitors. We have seen a political climate change that did, visitor data was saying that people wanted to stay home and travel locally. We're getting more Canadian travels within the country. We're getting more provincial travelers within the province. They didn't want to cross the border. They wanted to spend their dollars domestically. And what we saw was a real increase in our region as well, which bodes well to the fact that we are marketing in new markets, which I'll touch on in a minute, but as well as it's just the way that the visitor data has switched and where their sentiments have changed. So while we did see a little bit of a decline in the US visitor market, we were one of the stronger regions for it. And we did see that US visitors, when they did stay, they were staying longer on average compared to the provincial norms. So they were spending 2.5 nights here, where usually it averages about that 1.7 to 2 night per stay. So we did have a little bit of an uptick in that, which I think is good numbers, that they want to spend more money while they're here for that extra day. For our organization specifically, what those increase and new variety of domestic travelers meant is that we did see a growth in our overnight stays. We were one of the only regions around the area that did see this growth. Although it was a 1.5% growth, it's still positive numbers, which in the region, London, Windsor, they were down between 5 to 20% in their visitor stays domestically. So it really showcases that we were targeting the right audience. We were bringing in new people, bringing in new audiences, and helping our tourism sector thrive throughout a state of a little bit of turmoil politically and in economically as well, right? So with doing that, we were allowed ourselves to try new marketing initiatives, strengthen our position as the leading destination marketing organization in the region. So we've attracted new audiences from urban Ontario sectors, as well as trying to continue and strengthen our US markets. So really, we are just trying to get more potential visitors discovering communities like Plympton-Wyoming. If I could take a minute just to jump into the marketing world, as obviously that's my wheelhouse, being the marketing director before stepping into this. I always like to just showcase some numbers on what we've done in the last year for our campaigns. So overall, we did see 15.4 million impressions across our digital campaigns that we ran through, showcasing Lambton County, showcasing the different elements of our region. So that's 15.4 million people. That's different eyes on our content, on our region, on the assets that we have to showcase. And it's really through online, print, some digital, some new elements. It really showcases that we're putting the best foot forward and putting the content in front of new audiences and a lot of people. With that, we actually saw jump into some of our marketing terms, the click-through rate, which means that not only were people seeing it, but they were wanting to engage with it. They were selecting to learn more about our region, and we were above industry standards on all of our campaigns throughout the 2025 season. So that alone with the amount of impressions and the higher click-through rate showcase that we were targeting the right markets. We're targeting new markets, and the campaigns were effective. And it was obviously in our overall numbers for audience stay, we were successful in those campaigns. Now this is after getting some of the marketing things, I'd like to just showcase where I kind of see the tourism sector going. And this is more what I bring forward to the councillors, to the staff about this is idea generation. This is where our partnership starts, where it grows a little bit further, where it solidifies on how we can build Plympton-Wyoming, how we can build Lambton County as a stronger tourism asset. So really with our growing sector trends, what we do see is the short-term domestic trip being one of the strongest sectors growing into the next 4 years. As I mentioned, there is constant turnover in traveler sentiment, and people want to stay a little bit closer to home, whether it is based on the economic outlook of the next 4 years, or whether it has to do with some of the political elements. People just want to explore their own backyards, and that's where I really think that we have the opportunity to grow something really unique there. The other thing is unique and bookable experiences. We've found that a lot of visitors aren't just wanting I'm going to go to an event, go to McDonald's and head home. They want an experience. They want to be able to learn about things. They want to see something new. They want a little bit of behind the scenes. So they want more of an immersive experience, and that what brings on what we call the slow tourism element. It's not get in, get the event, get your souvenir and go. It's more of how this was grown, where the partnership was, how the farmer relates to the restaurant, who relates to the event promoter. There's so many synergies that are out there, and travelers are wanting to start to experience that as well. So this is a growing sector trend that I really think there's an opportunity for growth and collaboration between organizations, between municipalities as well across Lambton County. And of course, agritourism and culinary is always going to be a strong sector that's going to grow. I really think it's untapped, the agritourism sector in Lambton County, and I really think that this is a strong asset that every municipality in Lambton County can really work to grow on, and it's something that we want to advocate for on our end to bring that collaboration forward. So just to highlight Plympton-Wyoming specifically, where you're in a really strong position on where we can work together. Obviously, there's natural advantages. The Lake Huron access is one of the biggest assets that you have. I think it's an untapped asset that Plympton-Wyoming could really hone in on, and working with Tourism Sarnia-Lambton, we could really showcase the best of that. There is obviously the rural landscapes that I mentioned, agriculture advantages, and as well as the 60 kilometers of trail that you have. And I think there's a growing sector of that. There's a new emerging market in the cycling world. It's not just people that are looking for that 200-kilometer road race. There is now with the onset of the e-bikes and the ease of travel, you're getting more of a slow recreational traveler that is looking to utilize trails, and they will spend the same amount of money. They will spend the same time in the region. And I think it's a market that collectively we could work to showcase when we get into our next strategic planning. As far as business and attraction advantages for Plympton-Wyoming, the proximity to the other tourism markets in our county, I think, is really one of your strong advantageous points. You do have a key corridor between Grand Bend and Sarnia. You are the middle municipality in between there. And there's such an opportunity to catch those travelers and pull them in off of that main road and bring them into Plympton-Wyoming with something new, with something, a new experience or something that they can take home with them. And I really think that's an untapped, that's where I really find our strength to work with can start to foster this relationship. Obviously, we've seen the growth with Wyoming itself, with some new retail businesses, but it goes beyond Wyoming. It goes right up to the coastline, right? So outdoor recreation is a key expansion area to the north of your municipality, the agritourism as you start to head south, the culinary opportunities within the town of Wyoming, your rural accommodations in the surrounding areas, wellness tourism. These are all just ideas that if you're the spokesperson, you get your ear to the ground to all the businesses within your municipality. If you've ever heard or seen rumblings of anybody that has an idea of wanting to build or change or expand on something that they had currently in their business, this is where the connection starts between us and between you, both as municipal leaders and as staff with them. So encouraging things like farm markets, the beach to farm element, food and beverage opportunities, cycling and walking tours, some routes, and obviously glamping and farm stays. Be advocates for those elements, connect them with us. We can help develop those businesses if that's something that's in the wheelhouse of our organization, and that's something that's keen for you for growing businesses within your municipality. So to sum things up, from a municipal perspective, this is less about large infrastructure and more about enabling growth. So we're trying to find ways that support the collaboration between the two organizations, between all of the municipalities within Lambton County. I think that coming from one of the smallest municipalities in Lambton County, the village of Oil Springs, I know that collaboration works more than trying to do your own thing sometimes. And that's where we are as the county tourism destination marketing organization. We're here to help strengthen your position, help strengthen our position, share and engage with us, collaborate on funding and granting opportunities as you see fit, encourage your local businesses to contact us, collaborate with us, and as the representatives for your municipality, identify and advocate for businesses to grow into tourism assets. And that is the role that we hope that we can play. We're here to amplify that through our marketing, partnership, and connecting local businesses in a broader campaign. And we hope that you look to collaborate with us on everything that we do moving forward. And if there's any questions or any comments, I can leave some business cards with everybody, and we look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you for your presentation, Mr. Veen. Does anyone on council have any questions for Mr. Veen? Mr. Bougen?
Yeah, thank you. Excuse me. Thanks for the presentation. And I agree. I think being where we are, it's in between all these tourism destinations. I think the unique booking experiences is kind of what our wheelhouse would be for those day trippers staying in those areas, for whether it's workshops at Lake Life, cast iron kitchen, like those types of unique boutique experiences. So you mentioned that we can encourage businesses to reach out. Is there a plan for TSL to identify and encourage and make that connection as well?
Yep, absolutely.
Just to partner and
yeah. You talk about cast iron kitchen, for example. We actually worked with him over the last year. He was nominated for an Ontario Tourism Award, so he came out to he was one of the 3 finalists for that, which was because it's a unique bookable experience based on culinary and the connection to the local produce. And so we'd been working with him to showcase that this isn't just something for the Reese's Corners area, for the Wyoming area. This is something that's actually a tourism entity. You have that bookable experience. You have something unique that you're bringing that people from the GTA would never experience, right? So there's the opportunity for growth in that element. So those kind of, we're always looking for those. We're always trying to reach out to them. Sometimes it's harder to connect from there on the broader element that they may not know that we are the advocate for them. And that's kind of where that partnership comes in with you guys as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? Council? Can't imagine you're not having a question, Kristen. Go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you. These are new, so I'm getting used to them. We have a new person on staff. Would that person be working with Adam? Communications person?
I would expect so. I think our CAO who's online, would it be able to answer that?
Yes, absolutely. They are starting first week of May, and part of their initiative will be promoting local businesses as well as local events, which we have a bunch of them coming up right here in May and June. So I think as soon as they get started, that may be a meeting between myself, our new communications person, and Adam would be in the cards to ensure that we're all on the same page and can promote these events coming up.
Perfect.
Thanks, Adam. Are you done? Okay. Anyone? Mr. Wolfett?
What's the cost to the municipality? Is this, I was reading some articles, actually in the Independent today
Yep.
about TSL. And
Yeah.
some communities going it on their own. My understanding is that you have control and access to the, I believe it's 4% tourist tax goes through your organization. And so what is the cost to the taxpayers of Plympton-Wyoming to belong? Or is it a free?
There's no cost at all to the taxpayers for this program. So the way that it works, there is 2 streams right now, and there's a third one. So there is the Sarnia municipal accommodation tax as well as the Point Edward municipal accommodation tax. The Sarnia one is a unique one where they've tried to put in control of the spending directly on the city of Sarnia. So, but Point Edward has for a long time seen themselves as leaders in the county in the tourism element, and has allowed us to do any marketing program that best fits the county as a whole. So that's where we utilize those programs. We use the Point Edward MAT funding to do broader campaigns that would showcase not just Point Edward, not just Lambton County, but all the individual municipalities as well. Because as the largest municipality for hotel accommodations, they understand their place with where they are as a smaller village of a municipality as well, right? So they don't have all the other tourism assets, so they recognize that working together was the best way forward in that MAT agreement, and that's what the collaboration that we work on for that. So that's where that allocation would go for Plympton-Wyoming.
So you work under the umbrella of Lambton County?
Yes.
That's true. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so most of our regular marketing campaigns come through our regular operating budget, and then through the municipal accommodation tax, we're allowed to expand some of our marketing directives and try new markets, go into larger partnerships that really, we are still considered a smaller urban municipality or as a county compared to some of the regions, but we are able to, through that funding, compete with larger like Kitchener's, London's, Windsor's, where we wouldn't have beforehand. So it allows us to be more advantageous in the provincial scale on some of our marketing campaigns.
Okay, thank you. That's a good question, Bob. Mr. Van Claveren.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I was going to say our municipality is full of entrepreneurial, project-minded business people looking to add and enhance their business. And so if you're in chambers with us, and for the number that are online, if you could tell everybody within earshot in Plympton, Wyoming to reach out to Tourism Sarnia-Lambton for help in developing those ideas and those projects and their businesses.
Absolutely.
Very rewarding group. So thank you
Yeah.
for that presentation.
Yeah, no problem. I welcome the chance to speak to each and everybody. So it's, yeah, thank you again.
Anyone else have any questions? So yeah, we've got some things that you'll be able to promote along, you know, our tractor pull,
Yes. Yeah,
our
absolutely.
Wyoming Fair, our
25th.
Yep, the fall fairs have always been a big.
Send-off, our 25th anniversary celebration. Yeah, all sorts of things, and we look forward to our partnership with you.
Absolutely.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Beams.
Thank you. I'm just going to leave some cards here a little bit. Excuse me.
Okay. I'm sorry, we don't have any more loose chairs around.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Beans.
So our next delegation will be Mr. Frank Backx. Can you hear me through this thing or not?
Hold it in a little closer.
I can't, it's at,
Oh,
it's at its end.
Take your short leash there.
Yeah, I had a short leash.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank council for giving us the opportunity to relay some of our concerns, and maybe we also have maybe some suggestions on how we can increase our relationship, make us all better off. So good evening, and my name is Frank Backx, and I'm representing Sunset Acres subdivision. My wife and I have been residents here for over 38 years. And we'll never move. We love this subdivision. We have great neighbors, great friends, and it's a great place to live. Sunset Acres was developed in 1958, and it consists of 98 lots with public beach accesses in the original plan. Unfortunately, title to Block C, and I'm going to show some slides after this little talk. Title to Block C, the largest beach access, was never transferred to the municipality and remains to this day in the name of the original developer, who is deceased with no known relatives. Residents have used the access to enjoy the beach since Sunset Acres was developed. Since I have lived here, it was a walk on a grassy path beside the natural waterway. Beside it empties into the lake. As far as we know, no money has been spent on the access as it was easily walkable. However, over the past 3 years, the right-of-way has deteriorated to the point that it is now a danger to use it. Some was likely natural lake erosion, but most of the damage has been caused by the heavy equipment using Block C to get to the lake to erect walls to protect the bank for Sunset Acres lakefront owners. We are not against the erection of walls as we deem them necessary as well, in many cases to prevent further erosions. The companies doing the work indicated to many residents, including myself, that they would leave the beach access in the same state as it was before they used it. However, that hasn't been the case. We have also heard a company plans on using our access again in a couple months for some new seawall construction. If true, this will only further damage our right-of-way. Because of the current ownership situation of Block C, no one can stop them. The beach right-of-way is basically inaccessible now and dangerous to anyone who tries to use it. I'm going to show some of the slides here in a bit. It is not fair to the residents of Sunset Acres that we can no longer get to our local beach. We propose that the town of Plympton-Wyoming take ownership of Block C and make it accessible for Sunset Acre residents. Most public beach accesses are owned by the province of Ontario or in the local municipality where they are. Plympton-Wyoming took, excuse me. Plympton-Wyoming took over the beach access at Blue Point, the subdivision directly south of us, around 2013. In 2016, they deemed the stairs to the beach to be unsafe, so they erected new stairs. I believe Plympton-Wyoming still maintains those stairs. In your new Parks and Master Recreation Plan dated November 2025, the section road ends and lake access points, there were 2 recommendations in that area of that document. The second one was, quote, expand road ends and lake access points as opportunities become available to increase public access to Lake Huron. So this is a perfect opportunity for your Parks and Recreation Master Plan to be put into action. The fact that you took over the Blue Point access and others would make us more equal with our neighboring subdivisions. More importantly, it gives Sunset Acres residents the opportunity to again use the access that was included in the original Sunset Acre plans. It will also increase property values if a property access becomes available. Our roads also need resurfacing, as we are asking for that to be done as well. Many potholes have been filled in, but more keep popping up. Sunset Acres deserve a better road, in our opinion. As I said, there are 98 lots in our subdivision, and if the average tax burden for all our owners is $5,000, that's $500,000 a year that you take in. Excuse me. Over 10 years, that's 5 million, and 10 million over 20 years. It is my opinion that Plympton-Wyoming has spent very little on infrastructure or other capital projects in Sunset Acres since I have lived here. We think Sunset Acres deserves to have the upgrades mentioned above. So thank you for the opportunity to present my concerns. We have many people in our subdivision willing to provide labor to plant vegetation to hold the soil. There is someone in our neighborhood also who has expertise in what plants, etc., as we would like a long-term solution to keep maintenance at a minimum. So now I'd like to start the slideshow. Do I just click or? Sorry, I got a runny nose here. Sorry.
There's someone outside the door.
Okay, this is the original Sunset Acres plan, developed at October 3rd, 1958. So it's almost 68 years ago. As I said, there's 98 lots with 3 beach accesses that were included in the plan. The largest, as I said, was Block C. It's actually 148 feet wide. Most of that width is the large ravine that's to the left of the walkway, and it is designated as a natural waterway. This is a close-up of part of that plan where it shows Block C. You can see there that it was designated when it was made, that it was a public beach access to Block C. So it was meant for the use of Sunset Acre residents to access the beach. This is looking across Lambton Lane at the start of the walkway to the beach, the start of Block C. And you can see the condition of the road there, which I'm going to just mention briefly at the end of this presentation. And you can see there, it's all gravelly. That was all grassy before the equipment started going down there. This is a picture of Block C coming up from the beach towards Lambton Lane from 2022. You can see it was a scenic grassy path back then, very easy to walk, and it was just a beautiful way to get to the beach. This is the same part of the pathway now that I just showed you from 2022, and all the vegetation that was there is now just mud. This is entirely due to the large equipment that used Block C to get to the lake. This is near where the level part ends when you start walking down to the beach. You can see that there's a bunch of erosion from the rains because the soil has all been disturbed. That was all grass before. Now it's all good. Every time it rains, you're going to get the same kind of thing. This is a little further down. You can see the erosion gets worse as you get down, as the rainwaters ran down the hills there. And it's basically the soil's been so disturbed that that's why it's like that. I mentioned the natural waterway is there. This has all been eroded now as well. And 30 years ago, they put a whole bunch of big rocks, which I have a picture of, at the end where the culvert goes out to drain the water from the natural waterway. Most of that water now is not going through the culvert. It's going over the top, and there's serious soil erosion going along, as you can see from that picture. You can see the rocks from the top looking down at the lake. You can see where the water is running out, but only a portion of the water is actually running out of the culvert. The rest is going over the side, eroding it. And there's the rocks that, looking at it from the beach, they actually haven't moved that much over the time that I've been there. In fact, over the years, we've actually made walkways down there, but it's pretty treacherous and dangerous. Falling and landing on rock and wouldn't be a good situation. So this is looking down at the beach where it's seriously eroded. You can see last spring, my wife and my 2 boys put in these sandbags to try to make it accessible to get down there. It definitely helped, but it was still very, very hard to get down, even with the sandbags. So this is looking at the sandbags up, looking up from the lake. And you can see the serious erosion that's been going on there. So this is looking at the beach once you get down there, if you can get down there, which now we can't. You can see where the water's coming out into the lake from the natural waterway. This is looking towards Blue Point, and you can see it's a nice, beautiful beach. Not as nice as Highlands Glen, but it's our beach, and we love it. This is looking north towards Highland Glen and Kettle Point, and you can see it's pretty sandy. A lot of times it's rocky. It changes all the time, but it's a beautiful beach. So this is the roadway now as well. My lane goes out to Lake Shore Road, so I don't have to drive that road. So it's good for my cars and people that live on Lambton Lane. So I'm going to have Patrick Alec just give a little talk about the road situation, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Hi, Patrick Alec. I live really close to the access to the beach. And just to build on Frank's information there. So my son got me interested into this. We have lots of potholes in the area. And we just started talking about it. He took a civil engineering co-op in Windsor, and part of it was on road repair and road construction. And he was saying that there are certain minimum requirements on roads, residential roads, depending on the class. Now, he got me looking into it, and I live on Lambton Lane, and I think that's one of the worst roads in the whole neighborhood of Blue Point. And I just started looking into it with him, and I think for a residential street, a two-way residential street, there is a minimum, when they constructed, minimum for two-way is about 6 meters, 19.7 feet of asphalt from edge to edge. And measuring around this area here, it's all soft shoulders. You're getting 12 or 14 feet was the range. And then we started looking into residential one-way streets, and the minimum asphalt area, I believe it was Plympton-Wyoming, is 13 feet. So we're in that range right now for a minimum one-way street requirements, and this is supposed to be two-way. And then there's some considerations with emergency access on the road and what have you. So we feel that it's deteriorated to this point, and this is especially Lambton Lane is one of the worst cases. And I see other streets in the neighborhood getting paved down towards Blue Point Drive and way down past the park, and it looks immaculate. And I don't think, when I was walking the dogs, I don't recall it being as bad as this. And I'm trying to understand why that one was picked first before the streets in this area. Like even the cold patch, they're doing cold patch repairs upon cold patch. So there's no integrity there from the asphalt. So I'm just trying to see what's the requirement for having road fixes, or so many times you fix it over and over, and then where do you draw the line and say, okay, we got to repave the street? I'm trying to find out where that decision making is being considered. Myself, I have a newer vehicle. I replaced it in July after my father passed away, and within the first month I had to do all new shocks after the safety in the rear because they were leaking all over the driveway. I always take this route to go to work, and I didn't think much of it. My son told me this week his shocks are in a state of repair, and he has to go in, find a place to go repair his shocks before the weekend because he has a trip travel to for Toronto. So I know there'll be more if this continue. So just trying to see where you draw the line here, where you keep doing repairs, cold patch upon cold patch, or you actually pave the street. So that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we got two issues. One I'm obviously most concerned with, and again, is obviously the beach access. It's inaccessible, and the fact that, well, you heard my argument, so I can take any questions for any of the councillors.
Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Wolfett.
Well, a couple of things, ownership of this beach access, who's given
Mr.
permission?
Mr. Wolfett, I think our CAO will be able to answer some of those questions. And so we'll let him take that over. Okay?
If he's gonna ask the questions, I was gonna ask.
I
that'd be
think
fine.
he's going to answer. I think he's ready to answer the questions that you will be asking. Mr.
So at the
Vance.
discussion, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. The presenters tonight are correct. The property is in the name of the private developer who originally developed the property. It is our understanding also that the lands were intended to be transferred to the town, but without getting into legal details that they were not. The town certainly recognizes the challenges of that private property as it stands today, recognizes the benefit to the community and the challenges it's currently facing with unauthorized access to it. As such, we've been actually working on it for over a year now, trying to obtain appropriate legal advice on how to move forward with this property. So once we're hoping to have that in hand in the coming month, which will be presented into council and closed as it is legal advice, how best to move forward with that property.
Okay, appreciate you doing that.
Are there any other comments from council? Yep, Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you. Could we hear from Mr. De Silva on the roads and the drainage?
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, through the deputy. When it comes to roads, it can be a difficult question to answer. Now, I heard some speak about why we did the other section of Blue Point Road when, by all intents and purposes, it looked like it was performing well. And the answer to that question comes down to municipalities have gotten away from a worst first approach. So if we only spent money on the worst roads in the municipality, all of the roads that are in fair condition would continue to get worse. So we try to invest. And I had this conversation with some of your neighbors and I wrote a report on it. So I'd be happy to share this with them as well. But if we allow all of our roads to get to a point where they're poor, we'll never be able to keep up with it. So the intent with the roads in Blue Point is they're already asphalt. We can spend a small amount of money, not have to reconstruct them, and keep them going for another 20 to 25 years. Otherwise, if we just let them degrade to the point where we got to reconstruct them, it's millions of dollars to replace. Now, for your roads, I can, and I completely understand your point of view when it comes to the maintenance. We're rolling up maintenance right now. Those potholes will definitely be filled. I did a roads tour with our operations foreman today and looked at all those things. For reconstruction, I don't want to sound uncommittal, but we just last week performed a road needs study on all the roads across the municipality. That will inform all the decisions on preservation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction going forward. So I will have answers as to when that road would fall within that kind of capital planning timeline, probably in a few months' time, once we get a chance to assess all of the condition surveys that we just did. Does that answer the question?
Almost. Because these roads were identified in your current road needs assessment, correct? And they were on the list to get some work, but I believe there's been talk of the drainage problem, but then there was talk that they still could get asphalt and keep their open drainage there.
Yep, through the deputy. I mean, it's possible that they could get asphalt and keep the open drainage. We'd have to assess all the other infrastructure. Whenever we reconstruct a road, there's always an analysis done on the sanitary sewers, the drainage, the water mains. We try to marry those projects together to get like the best value out of a reconstruction that we possibly can. I won't be as bold as to say that your road is in good condition. What I can assure you, it's I can assure you there are other roads that are actually worse than that one. So it's not that we are ignoring it. There's a lot of roads in this municipality that need to be reconstructed. That's just the reality. Have a drive around Wyoming. You'll see some of the roads there. We just started another reconstruction project. Hillcrest Heights, they submitted a Drainage Act petition there last year. We're working on drainage improvements and a road reconstruction there as well. So there's just a lot of work that needs to be done and so much money to do it. So we try to prioritize things the best way we possibly can. Your road will be reconstructed at some point. We will need to assess whether any drainage improvements will need to be made. You may or may not be aware, but the town utilizes the Drainage Act exclusively when it comes to drainage improvements, which means any improvement gets assessed out to any of the benefiting landowners, roads included, so the town would pay their share. But anyone that, any other of the adjacent landowners that benefit from that drainage work will also have to pay for some of it as well.
Thank you. Is that a better answer now, Ms. Rodriguez?
No, not really.
Well-
I have to empathize because there has been nothing done to this road besides Band-Aids. And it's been in existence for almost 70 years, so I don't know, I have to emphasize that it is already on the road, needs assessment. It hasn't been addressed, and I just hope that you'll see that there is a lot of want and need for some action here.
Okay. Mr. Bowden, you wanted to comment?
I can hold off for a second if we want to keep talking roads. I was just gonna make a comment about the beach.
Oh, I see. Okay. Anyone else want to comment on roads?
Right here? No,
Oh,
I'll just,
allowed to ask questions?
of course. Yeah, yeah.
When you're talking about
Quickly.
road drainage, are you also going then to include the culvert drainage? Because you saw the photos there, all those street drains go into this culvert, which has totally been destroyed. So would it be all inclusive all the way to the lake? Because that 36 diameter pipe is totally crushed and rusted. Would it include it?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so through the deputy, and I may have to rely a little bit on my drainage coordinator who's also in the room, but my understanding is that's a natural water course and that some of the county water from Lakeshore actually goes through there as well, and they're prepared to submit a petition to make that municipal drain so that it can be maintained. Ryan, if you don't mind, can I pass this to Ryan and maybe he can provide a comment?
Yeah, again, Paul did sum it up well. Any drainage works in that area would be improved under the Drainage Act. The engineer that would get appointed his duty is to bring that water to an appropriate legal outlet. If we look at the other drainage projects we've done along the lake, that ends up being the lake. So it'd be very likely that improvements or some modifications would be made to that ravine and that channel for the outlet to the lake through a drainage report done by the drainage engineer.
Thank you.
At the lakehead there where it goes down like it's a real mess.
Yep.
It's just disastrous.
And maybe through the deputy, I can add, at any time, any landowners experiencing drainage issues have the right to petition for a municipal drain as well. So you can, and it would be like Paul said, every land that benefits from the drainage will pay part of the assessment for the works. But any landowner in the province of Ontario has a right to submit a petition for drainage works.
Thank you. Yep.
Had a question. We were concerned last year because our road is terrible. I'm on the curve of Lambton Lane. It is not wide enough for 2 cars, which as pointed out by Patrick. And last year you guys put up a new 50 speed limit sign, and we have a lot of people coming into our neighborhood to use Airbnbs from Toronto, big cities. Yes, they come in far too fast, but you cannot drive 50 on that road because there's nowhere to move. So they're coming onto lawns and things like that. So why 50 signs? That's my first question. And then if the road's not wide enough for 2 cars, is 50 actually a good idea? I don't know. I mean, that might be a provincial question than anything, but.
Go ahead and answer that, Mr.
Deputy,
Silva, and we'll come to a close soon.
I think I know exactly what you're talking about, and that was a request that somebody had made because I think there was a previous 50 that was there.
There was 19 years.
Okay, that,
West.
so those roads are, those roads are 50 by default. Any reduction in speed?
Two blocks and we don't have street lights, like someone's gonna get killed.
Okay,
With kids and all that.
sure.
It's a beautiful walking path. There's a point. Anyway.
Even without, what I'm trying to say is even without a speed sign, all local roads are 50 by default unless we sign them otherwise. I'm not saying that we can't sign them, but that direction would need to come from council through a request, and then we would evaluate the road and then we would make recommendations. But even if there wasn't a sign there, that's still the default speed limit.
That is different because it's like private association.
Those are private, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think we've heard enough comment. Oh,
You're gonna
our
go to beach
council wants to make more comments? No, go ahead.
I'm gonna go to beach access for a moment.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So going back to the beach access point, I'm glad Adam talked because I was trying to be careful of what we could talk about because we have talked about this before. And like you said, the Park and Rec Master Plan is clear, like beach access points is one of the best parks assets we have along that area. So it's something that we've been investing in, from stair replacement on existing ones and new ones. I know in Cullen Drive, as part of a drainage project, they're looking at creating a beach access point as part of a project with an outlet. And so when I saw these pictures and seeing drainage potential in this area, it's something that can be looked at as well to do it all at once. But the problem is the land, and it seems like a no-brainer. Even when I hear about it, it's a no-brainer that the land was supposed to go to the town. And again, I won't go into it because we're not, Adam said not to, but it is long and complicated as much as we don't want it to be. But beach access is a priority. And we did increase, I'll let the parks chair talk about it, but we've been increasing that budget as well. So it's on the radar for sure. Yeah, I assume so. Thank you.
Mr. Vasey?
Great, thank you. First thing I've got is, to me, the obvious solution for you guys is whoever's hiring these guys in, don't pay them until they check to make sure the access has been looked after. Whoever's doing the work, whoever's hiring these people, but somebody's paying them. Well, that's what I'm saying. So before they pay that guy, make sure your beach access has been looked after. Right? Because the rest of you are getting stuck holding the bag. The guy got a seawall built. Well, I understand that, but we certainly don't know that they're down there doing it. Like, we don't know they're there. And the only one that's got any power is the guy that's got the money that's gonna give to the contractor.
Don't they have to get a permit?
Yeah, they'll get it from the conservation and stuff, but we don't see nothing
Yes,
at
I
this
do
level.
have something to say on that.
So, to me, number one would be, don't let the guy off the hook and make him do what he promised to do, which was, well, look after it and we'll put it back on. They're gonna load that excavator onto the trailer and you're never gonna see him again until he gets the next job. And that's what's happened. Say, for Parks and Rec for the access, we won't put any money into it until we own it. Because we can't, because it's not our land, right? So that's in 58, 59, why the township didn't take that on. It fell through the crack, whatever went on back then has left us with a mess because you want it done, we want it done, but we don't own it. We don't know who owns it. Right? The guy that owns it.
We're working on it,
Yeah.
Mr. Vasey, so
Um,
it will be
For now, if
straightened
it were
out.
me, I'd be planting some trees in there. And the excavators can't get down there. But if we keep hiring these guys to go down there, we as a council can't stop them. Until we own it. Then we put some big stone in. You know. at the
Okay.
end.
Stop those excavators from going down now.
But we can't.
But I can do that.
We
I don't know what.
don't recommend anything for someone else to do. It's private property and we're not going on it.
Trespassing at that point, are they not?
Well, they probably are, but we're not, we can't get involved in it. We can't stop them. We don't own it, so,
But then you're saying you can't stop me from putting them there.
no. I didn't say anything like that either.
Wink, wink.
So, okay.
Gotta get ownership, and if this
That's
Well,
exactly,
that's what the
we've been working-
CAO said.
has to be done, done.
So we're working on that. The CAO did say that's what he's working on now. Okay, yes, ma'am, quickly.
Ditch in front of that.
The ditch is municipal ditch.
They have full ditch, get the access to that land. Doesn't have proper color in it. Exactly.
So, Mr. De Silva, might you have a quick answer for that?
Are you asking if we can block them off on the road allowance? Is that what it is?
I didn't ask that at all.
Can we block it off? I'd like to consult with the CAO on that, but perhaps.
Did you want to comment, Adam, quickly, and then we'll get to the end of this, yeah?
Theoretically, we could place things on our boulevard, but then you're placing objects in our boulevard, which we don't allow residents to do, because if someone were to strike that object in the vehicle, that would make us liable. So I would suggest that we probably don't want to get into that process of blocking private property. It's not a good precedence to send. I'm hoping that I have a legal opinion in the coming month and that we can get moving on this sooner rather than later. The
Right.
legal process will take time, though.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Okay, okay. Kristen wanted to say something, and then you, and that's it. Go.
Okay, thank you. Does the town, first thing, does the town have the ability to barricade off a derelict properly that is unsafe?
I thought we answered that. We can't go on that property.
It's a different
Oh,
question.
Go ahead, Mr. Sabansky.
If a property owner, or if adjacent property owners feel that a property is unsafe, either under our tidy yards or property standards bylaw, they can put a complaint in through the County of Lambton's bylaw enforcement website. Bylaw enforcement can review the site, and if they determine that there's unsafe conditions, they have the authority to remedy those unsafe conditions to a certain extent.
Thank you.
Perfect. So that might be an option.
Rate is take it down, you can mark them down. Some of the people in Blue Point had
Yeah,
just go down so that, they didn't use their access. So
right.
there's ways that they can still.
Correct. So
Exactly,
if the
yeah.
property is blocked off because of property standards, that would solve some of that problem and force a barge to be the,
We didn't hear you.
no, didn't hear a word. La, 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 la.
That's my.
I
That's-
just wanted to make one important point about the permit. I did speak to the St. Clair Conservation Authority. The St. Clair Conservation Authority up until now never really looked at how excavators were getting to these properties to do their work. They have now made a commitment to before they issue permits to get that information. How are they going to be accessing the property? And have that written permission from that property owner to use that. So that will solve a lot of things going forward. Unfortunately, this one, the excavator that plans on coming back down there probably already has permits in place, so, yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
well, thanks for that information too, Kristen. Is it gonna be fast?
Yeah, what happens if you can't get done?
I guess he doesn't get there. Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Backx. And I think you've heard comments from our CAO about the ownership will become, be looked after soon, I hope. And Mr. De Silva, you've noted all about their road problems and drainage problems, and I think you know that if you want your drains or your ditches fixed, it's got to be through the Drainage Act, correct? So you have to put in a complaint. And thank you for being civil and not throwing.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, well, thank you for coming in, and I hope you're not too disappointed yet. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, we're going to take a 2-minute break, 3 minutes then, okay. Order, please. And, excuse me, I'm calling this meeting back to order. Okay, okay, if I run the meeting. All right. We have business arising from previous meetings. Nothing? Okay. An adoption of meeting minutes now. That the minutes be adopted by council and that those confidential minutes of the closed sessions of council remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in, I forgot to amend, okay. In accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Those of April the 8th, regular council meeting minutes, and April 8th, regular council meeting minutes closed. That was moved by Mr. Van Claveren, second by Mr. Wolvet. All in favor? Carried. They're fine here, yeah, yeah. Next, moved by Mr. Van Claveren, and seconded by Mr. Wolvet, that the minutes be adopted by council and that those confidential minutes of the closed sessions remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. February 19th, the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting minutes. March 2nd, Special Events Committee meeting minutes. March 5th, Environmental and Services Committee meeting minutes. And March the 12th, the Wyoming Public Cemetery and Inactive Cemetery Committee meeting minutes. Any questions on those? All in favor? Carried. So we're going to move to account. Oh, first we want some councillors' reports. Does anybody have any short councillor reports?
Not short.
No short?
Not short.
Go ahead, Kristen.
Thank you. Just want to quickly mention on, I wanted to quickly mention on April 10th that I had a meeting with Steve Pincinel, the MPP for Lambton Middlesex, regarding fire service funding. So it was a very positive meeting, and I am, he actually wants me, or he wants to, or I'm supposed to follow up in 2 or 3 months on that subject.
What, getting some money for our fire department?
Yes, trying to get some more of a stabilized funding model
Okay.
for fire. On April 16th was our Board of Directors meeting for the St. Clair Conservation Authority. As you know, there's a lot of big changes, so I did want to go over some of the highlights of what I learned. One is that the province has mandated that the budget be done for this year or next year because they wanted the budget dealt with before they did the whole change of their structure. So therefore, in our June meeting, we're going to have a budget for 2027, which then has to go out to all the municipalities and then be back to our board for September. I did learn from Aaron, or who got the information from Norma, that we don't necessarily approve those budgets at council level. It's done at board level. It's just for your information of what's happening. So I'm not too happy that it'll be a rushed budget this time around. And starting next year, the county will be responsible for collecting levies from municipalities to submit to the new Western Lake Erie Region Conservation Authority for disbursement back to the local CAs under its jurisdiction. The province will appoint a CAO for each new regional conservation authority, which there's 9 in total, for a 2-year tender. So the CAO of each region will now be a provincial appointee. The new regional board will be capped around 15 to 20. It was thought, representing for our jurisdiction, we have 53 municipalities and only 15 to 20 will sit on that board. So when considering the larger populations, we'll have more than 1 member eligibility in the state of proposed cap, maybe 20. Municipal representation for many areas will definitely be extinguished. The board will have 1 regional general manager, who will work under the provincially assigned CAO. The province will be distributing a handbook for each new regional board to follow on structure, operations, decision-making, et cetera. The CAO's role will be to monitor the functioning of the new regional boards, report KPIs back to the province. The minister will have the right to intervene and prohibit certain decisions a regional board makes. There will still be a local watershed council, and it has not been decided as of yet what the number allotment for that council will be, but the local watershed councils will only function in an advisory capacity. Both boards can be comprised of elected officials, the general public, and First Nation representatives, although it will be a 70-30 ratio. The current CAs decided to keep Conservation Ontario structure and board, despite the new regulated structure being implemented. Ken stated that they felt there was enough savings in insurance premiums to make it worth it. Although when I looked at our last disbursement on our last meeting, I mean, our first payment was 15,000. So instead of one board of directors and one board for the Conservation Ontario, there will now be 3 boards. The regional boards would be eligible for funding from the province, but the Conservation Ontario board will be borne by the taxpayer as well as the local watershed councils.
So everything's going to cost us more.
And let's not forget, we are now adding an upper tier government body to now administer the levies, which will also create additional costs for the taxpayer. So this just got a lot more complicated.
Okay, I won't comment that. I think the province is ramming this through. Anyone, do you have any councilors' reports, Mr. Vasey?
I do.
Okay,
Parks Board will be out Saturday morning doing their spring tour. You're all welcome to join us. We just go around, check for winter damage, that kind of stuff, but you'll find some parks you didn't know we had. So you're all invited, and anyone sees us out and about, feel free to come out and talk to us about park and what you want or don't want or hate about it, love about it. We love your feedback. Go ahead.
okay, Mr. Belgian?
The only thing I was going to say is just the events committee met and they're working on picnic in the park May 23rd. So just a reminder that's coming up. Thank you.
Good. We'll have to send our minutes to Mr. Veen so he'll know we got that in the park. Okay. Mr. Van Claveren.
Yes, Madam Deputy Mayor, Lambton County Historical Society met at the Plympton-Wyoming Museum this past Thursday.
They did.
And it was great. And the museum had 16 members there, including yourself. And you were also the hostess with the mostest and provided refreshments for us. And that was great. Next month, we're in Wilkesport at the United Church there. And of course, drainage is continuing to be a very busy sector in our municipality. It comes up very, very often, meetings happening weekly and even as recent as this morning. So that's all I have to report for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Wolfett.
No, I don't have anything today. I have lots, but I'll wait till next time.
Okay, thanks. Good. I have a little bit. Yeah, we had that Plympton-Wyoming Historical Society. I always call it the Hysterical Society, but that's not nice, is it? So they had the AGM, Lambton, it was hosted by the Plympton-Wyoming Historical Society, and then we went to the Lions Fish Fry. I know it's not a councillor thing, but I just have to give you a little dig there. It was great. Thank you.
I thought it was a dig. It went over well because I wasn't there, so.
Anyway, 100 Years of Girl Guides celebration was held at Our Lady of Mercy Parish Hall, and I attended that, gave them some certificates. Our mayor was unable to go. That's 2 in a row now, isn't it? So we'll get them. They put on great display. All the walls were covered with all the stuff they did over the past 100 years. And that building was the one they had their very first meeting at 100 years ago. I imagine that the hall has changed a little bit since then. Yeah. So,
Were you there?
but yeah, I was there. 100 years ago. We'll get even. Okay. That's all. That's the end of the councillors' reports, I guess. Now we'll move on to accounts. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vacy, that the council remuneration claims for March 2026 be approved for payment. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Ms. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Vacy, that the report by Adam Sabansky, CAO, dated April 7th, regarding a facade and structural improvement program submission for 580 Broadway Street be received, and that council approves the application for funding. Are there any questions on that one? It was explained pretty well, and the pictures say a lot of words. What's Mr. Vacy?
Just a couple questions. Seems to me we're approving it for 7,500. And that's reserved for corner lots. If I read the bylaw right. So is this considered corner?
Mr. Who's?
Who are you pointing?
Oh, Sabansky's doing it? Okay, thanks, Mr. Sabansky. What's his name up there? Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Although the it is not a corner lot, it is considered a double lot. When I checked the legal description, double lots are also eligible for the additional funding.
Not going to be a double lot when the building is the whole lot.
The legal area of it actually takes up two of the original lots of the original survey of the original town.
Okay, and what, is this open for anybody or just commercial?
Generally just commercial.
And do we know that this will stay commercial?
To the best of my knowledge, it will stay commercial. However, the bylaw is going to be opened up. I'm waiting for word back from the province in regards to the ROD grant funding. Once I know whether or not we have the funding, I'll be bringing the proposal from BM Ross to update the policy to you. At that time, if council wishes, we can look to expand it beyond commercial if you wish. However, the original plan only contemplates commercial.
So if this were to go into non-commercial, we'd get our money back. Is all I'm looking, is where I'm going with this. I have no objections of, you know, he's doing a great job and everything else, but if it doesn't turn into a commercial place, we should at least get our funding back.
It is a commercial zone property as it sits today. And my understanding that the lower floor will be used for commercial use.
Perfect. That's all I'm kind of looking for. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Ms. Rodriguez?
I just wanted to say it looks really beautiful.
Yes.
And the blueprints do show it
Yeah,
being
it
office
does.
space, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Everyone in favor? Thank you. That's moved by Mr. Wolbert, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren, that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 15, 2026, regarding inflow and infiltration reduction program, private side plumbing inspections be received, and that the attached resident correspondence be approved, and that council approve proceeding with private side plumbing inspections in the hamlet of Kemlaki. Any questions? Mr. Bougen.
Thank you. At the expense of Mr. De Silva thinking it's a crazy idea. If I remember correctly, after that last meeting or a couple meetings ago we had with the flooding and everything, and it was identified that there's some backup issues on Nettie Way specifically, is if it is isolated in terms of the quote unquote higher risk area being that Nettie's Way, is there a way that we can incorporate them into this phase to try to alleviate everything we can in that specific problem area or high risk area?
Through the deputy. So in order for us to eliminate the issues that we're experiencing at Nettie's Way, we have to eliminate the issues from Wyoming entirely. Because all of the sanitary flows flow to that direction and ultimately end up in a pump station at the entrance to the Baptist church there. So by our plant. So it's not a matter of just being able to tackle a small area and getting rid of the problem. We literally need to tackle the entire collection system of Wyoming in order to solve that problem.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Did you want to make any comments on this program?
I would.
Oh.
Yeah. Through you, if I may. No, so just for some context, we've been talking about this for a while. And we had brought forth a we call it I&I Inflow and Infiltration Mitigation Program to the Environmental Services Committee last year. They endorsed it. It subsequently got approved by council. That plan outlines a variety of strategies that we're going to use to eliminate basically stormwater getting into the sanitary system. So many ways that we can do on the public side and also ways that we can do on the private side. We've tackled the public side stuff pretty aggressively. We have a very vigorous closed circuit television program where we actually video inspect all the sewers. If we find problems, we fix them that same year. So we've been spending money there. We've been identifying low-lying manholes that are subject to inflow and infiltration. We sealed 10 manholes along Lakeshore Road this year to eliminate I&I. This is the most logical step in this program. In order for us to stop basement flooding, and I mean basement flooding as the cause from sanitary sewage, we must eliminate some pumps from the sanitary sewage system. There's just no other way. I've been involved in this in the past. I've seen over 50% reductions in wet weather flows at pump stations. This absolutely needs to be done.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you. Well, I appreciate your response back to Councillor Bojan. I still think that, and I appreciate the entire system needs to be looked at. I still believe incorporating those key addresses into this phase one, it shows that we're listening to people, and I think maybe there's things that could be identified right off the hop too. So I'd really like to see them incorporated on top of the addresses that are in under recommended reading who have some repeat issues as well. I believe the budget for this was 100,000, but it's only going to cost, I don't know what the cost was, somewhere around 40 for the phase one. And is there a possibility of a second certified plumber to step in and maybe be a little bit more proactive on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, through the deputy. So we're talking about two distinct different issues. The people that are experiencing basement flooding because their sump pumps are failing are different from the people that are experiencing basement flooding because sanitary sewage is flowing into their basement. So the program that I'm talking about right now is eliminating sanitary sewage flowing into people's basements by removing the cross-connected stormwater. The issue of people's basements flooding for a variety of reasons, whether it be their sump pumps can't keep up or whether it's coming in through the walls in their foundation, have nothing to do with this particular program.
Okay. Wasn't this?
There are two stormwater systems and sanitary systems are two different systems that in
Yes.
theory should never cross connect.
Correct, I get that.
Right. So that eliminating stormwater from the sanitary system solves that problem. People's sump pumps not being able to keep up, it does nothing for that.
Yep, I understand that. I thought when you have people put in backflow valves and they're still getting these backups is one of the reasons why you said you wanted to do this to start with, right?
Yes, and people have backflow valves on their sanitary systems, and for whatever reason, whether it be they're faulty or due to lack of maintenance, they're not holding. So people have put backflow preventer valves in, which is a great first step, and we have a subsidy program for that. However, for whatever reason, those are failing and people are still getting sanitary sewage in their basements, which is why we're saying we need to eliminate the cross connections from the sanitary sewer.
Right, okay. I don't know anything about these cross connections,
Okay.
but my second item is it actually came to me from a resident as a suggestion to add to your my computer's frozen, so I can't
Good,
see
that's
anything.
good.
Which is gonna make me talk longer because I can't see
Uh-oh.
anything.
Get her computer working, right?
So for logistic and convenience to property owners and or other circumstances unknown, is it possible to consider adding in that the customer is able to, at their own cost, hire their own certified plumber to do the inspection and provide that document to meet the town's requirements under this program.
Yeah, through the deputy, I haven't considered that, where we could, I mean, the program is free. I'm not sure why somebody would want to then go through the expense of hiring a different plumber to inspect their property. I think we want to work with the same plumber. They know what they're looking for. We have a standardized inspection form that would be utilized. I'm not saying that that's impossible, but, and also like, in my opinion, I feel like we should be doing this kind of like on a comprehensive approach. So if we go in and inspect all of them, then at least it's standardized across the board and we don't have different plumbers looking for different things.
Yeah, I would assume that you would provide some sort of standardized what you're looking for them to do. And again, it was just, the resident suggested it for logistic convenience to property owners or other unforeseen circumstances. Because the majority of this work would be done from like 8:30 to 4:30, Monday to Friday, right? So in order to help move it along quicker, they suggested if that could be an option.
You're welcome. So, do I need to read this motion again?
No.
Or are we ready to vote on it? All in favor? Carried. Moved by Mr. Wolvett, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren, that the report prepared by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 15th, 2026, regarding the Fleming Road reconstruction tender results be received, and that the tender from All Season Excavating and in the amount of $881,400 included HST be accepted, and by Law 32 of 2026 be taken as having been read 3 times and finally passed, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Any questions on this?
What item?
What's that?
8.3? Okay, no.
Yeah, Fleming Road reconstruction. No questions? All in favor?
Thank you.
Carried. I did have a question though about All Season Excavating. Are we familiar with them?
We are, they did a section of Queen Street for us, not that section of Queen
I was
Street.
gonna say, okay.
The one immediately adjacent to this project, it's
All right.
very, very similar and we were happy with their performance.
Okay, thank you. So it's carried. Yep. Next is about dust control services. Moved by John Van Claveren, seconded by Bob Wolvett, that the report by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 16, 2026, regarding the 2026 dust control services be received, and that the negotiated procurement method as outlined and justified in the report be approved by council, and that the 2026 contract with Denmar Brines Limited for the supply, hauling, and application of 250 flake equivalent tones at a total cost of $65,152.50 plus HST be approved by council as an extension of the existing contract. Any questions on this one? Ms. Rodriguez?
Thank you. I would personally like to see the tender process continue, as there may be unknowns from year to year. Like an existing company might expand its services, or a new company, or an existing company wants to reduce their costs. And then there was a statement at the end, I think it was the very last sentence, because I haven't quite got there yet. Have we not already budgeted for staff operations? You were saying that the excess would go to staff operations, but we already budgeted for staff operations.
So through the deputy, the reason why we haven't negotiated with this particular contractor is because the tender process has not been competitive in the past, because this contractor owns and operates a well in this municipality. They're local. So other vendors cannot compete with them. I'm not familiar with any other vendor that has a brine well in the municipality. So that's why I recommended this. It's a 0% increase. So I thought it was good value for the municipality. The comment about the rest of the budget, yes, that it is budgeted. I'm saying the total budget line item was $84,000. This particular cost is $65,000. So the balance of the budget is used for operating because we go ahead and pre-wet the roads and stuff before we do this brining. So, does that answer your question? Like, yes, our staff time is included in this budget. I just thought I would get the question of, hey, this is only costing us $65,000, but you budgeted $84,000. Why? Why is because we have operating time included in this.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Now your question is answered.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's it, right?
Yes.
Are we all in favor?
Yep.
Carried. Okay, we have a few more motions. Are we, do you want us? I was gonna ask you if we were entertaining.
Please, well.
The Jays game's over, so what else you got?
So there's no charge, but is there anything, anything specific you want anybody, you want, we can go to it now if you like. If you, or unless you're happy listening to us.
We're just here in regards to the joint neighborhood letter.
Okay.
So
so
recommended
do
reading.
you- Yeah, do you want us to address it now and then, or do you like to listen to the rest of this? No,
Whichever works for you guys.
okay, no, we can go to that recommended reading. It's at,
Okay, so 11.1.
11.1,
Item H.
item H. Amber Dukeshire, right? Am I saying it right? Dukeshire at all, residential flooding. Does everyone want to attend to that? And do you want to address it?
That's not 3 pages.
I thought you were flipping a lot of pages, sir.
So good evening, Deputy Mayor and members of council. My name is Amber Dukeshire and I live at 514 Niagara Street in Wyoming. And I'm here to speak about the repeated flooding that has been affecting my home and many others in our community. For the past 2 years, my property has flooded 3 times during rainfall, involving some backups and significant water accumulation in both the yard and surrounding areas. Despite taking proactive steps and investing in repairs, the issues continue. I've now lost insurance coverage as a result of this. Through the joint neighborhood letter, it is clear that this is not an isolated experience. Multiple residents across several streets are facing similar flooding and drainage challenges. We understand that infrastructure issues are complex and that solutions take time. However, the ongoing nature of these impacts highlight the need for a clear and transparent path forward. We are asking for a better understanding of current system, any known limitations, and how plan improvements will directly address the flooding affecting our neighborhood, along with realistic timelines. We want to work collaboratively with the municipality to ensure that residents can feel confident in the safety and reliability of their homes. We are simply asking for a clear path forward so that repeated flooding does not continue to be a normal part of living in our community. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Okay, thank you. We do have your letter in front of us, so, and then we will address that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will receive that later then when we address our correspondence, okay? All right, and so, but you're welcome to stay if you want some more entertainment, okay? Okay, thank you. Our next motion. Moved by Mr. Van Claveren, seconded by Mr. Wolvette, that the report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 17, 2026, regarding the Enhanced Access to Spaces for Everyone grant project recommendation be received, and that council approves an application to the Enhanced Access to Spaces for Everyone grant for the upgrade of the existing washroom facility at Arnold Manili Park to AODA standards. Any questions on this one? All in favor? Carried. Another motion for petition for drainage works by owners at Gallimere Beach. Moved by Mr. Bougen, seconded by Ms. Rodriguez, that the report by Jessica Wilson, Executive Assistant, Public Works, dated April 21, 2026, regarding petition for drainage works by owners in Gallimere Beach be received and that council accepts the petition as filed, and that council appoints Spreet Associates Limited to make an examination of the area requiring drainage and prepare a report on the matter in conjunction with the other petitions for Gallimere Beach properties. Any questions on this one? Yes, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you. Yeah, a resident had also reached out on this one. They did want to understand the holdup on the original petition, but through some conversation with Ryan, the second property had come in and caused the delay. And that property is a little bit more complicated because it deals with the St. Clair Conservation Authority. I believe some buildings on that property, they also want to move them. But now we have another property that wants to come in, which is concerning because it may add further delays. And will the costs now start adding up for the original petitioners and significantly push back the timeline for them to be able to see any relief from drainage?
Mr. Taming, would you like to address that?
Yep, so through deputy to council, at the meeting to consider, any property can ask council to add their name to the petition. Council can accept that or not. Requesting to add to the petition, they could request that at any time as well. At the meeting to consider, if someone were to add their name to petition, that'd be up to council to send the report back to the engineer or not. So the property owner here in question has experienced some flooding issues again this April. He is asked to be included in the drain report. The drain report's not finished yet, so it's a good opportunity to do that. Council can not accept this petition. That gentleman could appeal it to the tribunal, and we'll go to, that's his right. He has the right to appeal that. Yeah, I'm
That's it.
not too sure. Yeah, that's, so you can accept the petition now, or not, and then he had the same opportunity at the meeting to consider. The gentleman, the owner of the property has a drainage problem he would like to address, so.
And I don't, that's not my concern.
Okay.
Or the residents' concern here. It was about the timeline getting pushed back again.
Yep.
Because now we have a third entry. We had them originally, then a late second entry, now a late third entry. How much does it push that timeline?
Realistically, not that much farther. The engine, like this last property that's being added is much smaller than the first property added. The engineer has already sized the main that's going to be down, I believe, William Street, to accommodate future down all the other streets. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. But is currently only bringing service to the requesting properties, right? So not necessarily every street is getting service through this project, every property on every street. They'll have capacity for every project on every street and have future design for every project on every street. The timeline likely, draft meeting in roughly 2 months is what we're expecting, talking with the engineer. Then meeting to consider, then quarter revision. If there's not, things don't get sent back to the engineer through the meeting to consider, likely be finalized this fall.
Thank you. Well, it only makes sense to do the whole area instead, because there's been quite a few requests on this Gallimere Beach area, so is everyone in favor on this? Okay, carried. Judith and Norman Alex Foundation, okay. Moved by Mr. Wolvette, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren, that the report submitted by Paul De Silva, Director of Public Works, dated April 21, 2026, regarding the Judith and Norman Alex Foundation project recommendation be received, and that council approves an application for the extension of the Lakeshore Road Trail into Kamlaki.
Yeah.
Does any questions?
Have we got all the approvals from county? And running that trail along the
Ask Paul.
Lake Shore Road there.
Yeah, through the deputy, we don't have the land purchase yet, but we continue to work concurrently with the county to get that done. I believe the project needs to be done sometime next year, so we have a little bit of time, but we'd like to secure some additional money to get this done. I know it's been a priority of councils for a while.
So it would have no effect on Alex Foundation there to give us the money in advance of even having approval to put it there?
I mean, we continue to work with the county and they don't foresee any issues with acquiring that property. They need it for the road allowance as well, so I feel confident that the project can move forward.
Fair enough.
Good, thank you. Then we can maybe end up calling that trail the trail to nowhere, right?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Soon.
Soon we
No,
won't have to call.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. if
Netty's
this
Way,
works.
call it.
Oh,
Thank you. Are we all in favor of this? Okay, Carrie. Tender results for the McFarland Award drain. Moved by Mr. Wolvett, second by Mr. Van Claveren. Excuse me just for a minute. Bye, folks. Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
no problem. I got worried.
Maybe have in 2 weeks.
That the report prepared by Ryan Hamming, Drainage Coordinator, dated April 22, 2026, regarding the McFarland Award drain tender be received, and that the tender from Bruce Poland and Sons Trucking Incorporated for $26,176.34, including HST, be accepted, and that bylaw 34 of 2026 be taken as having been read 3 times, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Any questions on this one? All in favor? All carried. We have a report from our clerk about elections. Moved by Mr. Vacy, second by Ms. Rodriguez, that the report by Aaron Kwarchuk, clerk, dated April 21st, 2026, regarding the 2026 municipal and school board elections update be received. Would you like to comment on that before we go to council for any question?
I don't think I have anything to add, your worship.
I think you've got it pretty well explained in there, haven't you?
Right,
Yeah, okay. Any questions from council? None? We're all in favor? Carried. Wow. Okay, moved by Mrs. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Bougen, that bylaw 35 of 2026 being a bylaw to provide for a final tax levy for the year 2026 for properties in residential and farmland waiting development, multi-residential, new multi-residential, commercial, shopping center, farmland, pipeline, industrial, large industrial, landfill, parking lot, managed forest, aggregate extraction classes, and small-scale on-farm commercial and industrial business, first and second subclasses, and to provide for the payment of taxes and to provide for penalty and interest of 1.25% per month, be taken as having been read 3 times and finally passed, and the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the said bylaw accordingly. Are there any questions on this bylaw? All in favor? Carried. We come to correspondence. Action required. So the first one, moved by Mr. Wolvett, second by Mr. Van Claveren, that correspondence suggests the following motion. That council waives the rental fees for Aberrata Central School to rent the Kamlaki Community Center for their grade 8 graduation on Thursday, June 18th, 2026. Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Hold on, I have a question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Question? Yes, sir?
Quick,
Yes, sir.
I-
Yeah, you gotta go quick.
We had discussed in the past, that the cost of this operation doesn't change, even though we give this away. There's still cleaning fees and whatnot that go on. And I know in the past was suggesting, that we do an honor, what did you call it?
Honorarium?
Offering or a,
Free will offering
yeah, a
kind of thing
gift,
that,
a donation box.
yeah, and I think it's something we should start looking at that. Like I said, we don't mind giving it away, but there's still a cost to giving it away, and we're 30,000 in the hole every year on this building, so. you know, if we collect a couple $100, at least pays for the hydro to keep it on, so. I'd be in favor of this if they would do that, if they put a box up. Say, we don't expect we'll get $500, but if we get a couple hundred, we'll pay, like I say, pay the hydro, so.
Okay, any other comments? Mr. Van Cleveren?
I was determined not to comment this time on this,
That's why I did it.
but I appreciate that. Because usually it was a comment that paralyzed council, and I'm not sure why. So I appreciate you bringing that up. Because I've asked I bounced it off a few people, and oh, yeah, we'd chip in. Now that's easy to say, but they certainly didn't find an issue with having a box there that you can fire something in because you're willing to keep the lights on and the heat on and so on.
Right. The only thing is that we've already done Errol. So can we start this, you know, have it considered and then start doing that next year? Yeah, go ahead. Make your comment.
Thank you. I just want to note that I think you had mentioned it. I think when I was watching the parks meeting about how the schools let the public use the playgrounds after hours, and you know, so it's kind of like working together. And I don't disagree with you on the whole donation box thing, but it's kind of working together, right?
Yeah.
So they're not cutting off the public from the use of the.
Sure.
I don't know, that's what I heard in a meeting, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
I understand that the kids can use it after hours, but that doesn't mean it's a rule, you know? This, I spoke with the principal, yes. And he noted that, however, I guess if there were a problem ever arose, it would be stopped, you know? Anyway, but
I think we're seeing it as penalizing or not being neighborly. It's really literally about the nuts and bolts of running a facility. And I think there'd be lots of grandpas out there, grandmas, fathers that would just love to drop a 20 in there, and they add up and they help.
Mhm.
That's kind of the spirit of it. Yeah.
okay, so how do we, we'll vote on it. We'll vote on it. Another one? Okay, yes, Mr. Wolfman.
Why don't we move this as staff, go back and make some recommendations for the next council, the new council, on use of our public buildings and fees for everybody, instead of trying to just deal with one, you know, just a school this time, and we're gonna be dealing with food trucks the next time. Why don't we put together some policy, what our policy is for the use for anybody using their buildings, based on everything that was said. Gotta have janitors, gotta be cleanup, gotta be hydro paid for, and rather than debate it every time it comes to the floor on each issue. And then if you grant one person approval, now you've just approved everybody, because you can't say yes to one and no to the other. That would be my recommendation, rather than trying to deal with it here. And
Thank you. Mr. Sabansky.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I think we already have those policies in place. We have a fees bylaw that is clear what the fees are set for each of our properties that are used. And we have a fee waiver policy that gives council the authority to waive fees in certain circumstances. So unless we want to review both those policies, I don't know if that would be any benefit at this time. That being said, a donation box might be a quick and easy way. Yes, we've kind of avoided it because it is a logistical challenge to figure out how, when, where, how it's all collected. You're talking about handling of cash. It's not something that is typically done by any of our staff except out in the municipal office. So what we can do is we can look at getting some pricing on a secure donation box that staff can check on weekly when they're in there checking the facilities anyways. And we can see if it's something that is relatively easy and inexpensive to do, we can put up the box with a sign noting that donations to help assist with the running of this facility are always greatly appreciated. If it becomes more complicated than that, then obviously we'll write a quick report for council to contemplate. But we'll follow up on that as a senior management team in the coming weeks.
Okay, so,
That's perfect. Thank you.
okay, but meanwhile, we're going to vote on this motion, okay? So it was carried, but now,
Oh, yeah.
okay, okay, it's still carried? Okay, good, because I got it signed. Yeah. Okay, next one, moved by Mr. Van Claveren, seconded by Mr. Wolvet, that the correspondence suggests the following motion, that council allows an exception to Malik Patel, am I saying that right? Malik Patel for the definition of a special event under bylaw 6 of 2024 to allow a mobile food truck to operate on public property at the Kamlaki Community Center for a private event occurring on May 9, 2026. Any questions on this one? Ms. Rodriguez?
I would, off the face of it, not agree with waiving the fee here. It is a private event, not a community event. And how many fees do we collect for private events throughout the year versus waiving? Do we know that information?
I don't think we have that on. Do you know, Lisa, anything?
Just trying to clear up that this one isn't a fee waiver.
Oh, I'm
So this is allowing a food truck to operate at a private event. So.
Oh.
food truck bylaw-
Oh, sorry.
This request is.
Oh, I guess so these have to come through us too? They just don't go through staff? I'm confused.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. With the fee waiver and the mobile food truck, we did come to council and kind of ask where the level of authority was, and council wanted these requests to come to council. Yeah.
We waived it last year as well.
Administrative.
Okay, so we have to vote on this?
Yep.
All in favor? Okay, carried.
Reading so many fee waivers.
Moved by Mr. Vaisi, seconded by Ms. Rodriguez. The correspondence suggests the following motion, that council allows an exception to Lambton EMS for the definition of a special event under bylaw 6 of 2024 to allow a mobile food truck to operate on public property, Kamlaki Community Center, Arnold Manili Park, for a private event occurring May 20th, 2026, and that council waives the rental fee for the Kamlaki Community Center. Are there any comments on this one?
I am completely in favor of this.
Any other comments? So, all in favor? Carried. No, another one. Moved by Mr. Wolvet, seconded by Mr. Van Claveren, that the correspondence items A2, H, relating to recommended reading and routine approval and information items not otherwise addressed by resolution be noted as received by the Plympton-Wyoming Council and filed accordingly. Are there any ones you want to address separately? Mr. Bougen?
Yeah, thank you. Mrs. Dukeshire left, but I did have a question for Paul, just building off of that. And not to repeat the last meeting we had, because we talked about a lot of these things in the system and how the system is deficient because of the size of just in general. And the mid to long-term plans that you had mentioned to start addressing this. But my question is specifically, I know it talks in there about next steps, and I'm sure you're working with them if you haven't already, because I know you've been out there talking to people. But is there a plan yet to kind of look under the hood and cam the problem areas for the underground storm system to determine if there's value in bringing in a back truck this year?
Through the deputy, thanks for asking that question. I was hoping that I could elaborate a little bit more on what we've done since that event and that April 12th council meeting. So we really hit the ground running in terms of meeting with people and understanding how these issues affected them, including, you know, Ms. Dukeshire and Mr. Meredith, who were both in attendance today. I've met with them personally. In many ways, they're doing a lot of things right on their side. They had some concerns about the municipal infrastructure, and I explained to them what we were doing on our side. Ryan and Josh have been using our camera so much that they broke it and we had to send it in for service. So we're chasing down a ton of areas where people have said, you know, this catch basin isn't working. So we're going there, we're looking where it's deficient, we're correcting. We have a contractor doing flushing work for us right now in the village of Wyoming for the sanitary sewers. We are going to be having that same contractor flush the storm sewers. It's more difficult than it sounds because our mapping is not great. So we literally have to put a staff member with the flushing company to say, okay, I want you to go from here to here and then here to here. The benefit of that is we're going to update our maps based on all this new information we find. So I'm fairly confident that once we get done with all this flushing work, that we'll have eliminated any issues or any issues that are there right now. That doesn't solve our capacity problem, but it certainly solves our operational problem. So that's something that we're committed to doing. It'll probably start next week or the week after. Catch basin cleaning, we have a contractor that gives us a really good price. They did 400 catch basins this year. They're going to come back and do another 400 or so catch basins in Wyoming this year. So there are plans in place to correct some of the operational concerns. As far as the future, what I plan to do is we've been compiling all of this information since this event, all of the people that we met with, all of the known issues. I'd like to produce a report just to kind of fill council in on, you know, where those issues are coming from, some of the conversations that we've had. Because in one case, I talked to somebody, and I won't name any names, but their foundation drains, which are right around their obviously around their foundation, was connected directly to the storm sewer. That's just a big no-no, because as soon as that storm sewer fills up, it backs up right into their foundation drains. So we had a really good educational conversation about what they could do about that. And that was the intent of going out and meeting with everyone, because everyone's situation was different. So once I produce this report, there will be probably a couple other recommendations in there of things we want to do in the future. So that's kind of where we're at right now. We're doing everything that we can for the moment, and we're working on plans for the future as well.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And not just helpful for council, it'll be helpful for all of the people experiencing it too. So thank you.
Okay, so, oh, Mr. Basie?
Yes, in the reading. Are we just learning about this, or did you guys know about it at your level? You as in environmental. Have you, like, their system went down in January, and April 21st, we're getting notified that there's problems in the water system. And it's not a big deal, but it's a big enough deal to send it in April. Why couldn't they send it in January? Like, I don't understand the lack of communication.
Yeah, through the deputy, I can attempt to answer that question. I mean, I think this may have come up at laws, but there's a lot of information that comes up at laws that just get kind of buried in reports. The health, Lambton Public Health decided that at this point it was enough to inform the public about. So that's why they control this whole fluoridization issue. I know, speaking with the general manager of laws, that it's supposed to be corrected within the next 4 to 6 weeks. They're waiting on a valve to come in to fix this problem. So other than that, I mean, it might have been known since January, but I didn't have personal knowledge of it necessarily. And we leave this kind of decisions to laws and the medical officer of health.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so does that answer your question, Mr. Basie? Sort of.
Sure.
Okay, Ms. Rodriguez.
Thank you. So going back to the 11H, for the neighbors, letter. So coming back in your report that you want to do up, will it include, because it sounds to me like I'm trying to figure all this out. I'm not on the environmental committee and I don't understand a lot of it, but you're saying there's a lot of infrastructure problems, but this flushing should help solve some of the problems, or whatever you called it, doing camera work and flushing. should flushing become more regular? I mean, since is that what you're gonna kind of bring back to us?
Yep, so through the deputy, I mean, I don't know if there's like infrastructure problems. Obviously, we continue to update infrastructure all the time and it's a work in progress. Certainly from the operational standpoint, we haven't in the past been doing this flushing. It was intended to be started this year. And it was right in our budget report that we were going to intend on starting this year. So yes, and that will become a regular preventative maintenance thing. Not only is it best practice, it's also a requirement because we have new regulations for our environmental compliance approvals that state that we have to have a preventative maintenance program in place. Now, flushing on storm sewers in terms of best practice is not as frequent as sanitary sewers because they're less likely to develop problems, but we're probably still looking in the 5-year kind of cycle of preventative maintenance. So yes, I can outline a little bit of that in the report as well.
Okay, that's good to know. I didn't realize it wasn't done before.
Historically, it has not been done.
Oh, well, that would explain a lot. Yeah. And will somebody be, like, you guys will be responding to this letter or?
Well, there's some asks in this letter that I intend to include in my report, but we've also been meeting with everyone who's reached out.
Oh.
Like I've had many in-person meetings with people all over town, you know, trying to go over their very specific problems and kind of educating on them of what they can do because we can only do so much on our side. In some cases, somebody's backyard is what's flooding. They confirmed the street didn't even flood, but the backyard flooded, came up to the foundation, and that's where they had issues. So then comes down to how can you protect your private property? And we see ourselves as being involved in that conversation. We're not just saying, well, that's your problem, you fix it. We're going and saying, hey, here's some strategies that you could use to attempt to fix your problem.
Yeah, which is really good, really good. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Very good.
I wouldn't mind adding to that a little
Yes.
bit, maybe when it comes to the folks on Nenny's Way and Mrs. Dukeshire, where they can't get insurance anymore, and it's tough even maybe to sell their home. You know, as somebody in the know, this isn't necessarily a responsibility, but as somebody that knows people in that industry can we help them find a way to deal with it outside of what we can do? You catching what I'm laying out there? Yeah.
I think so, through the deputy again. So the issue of people's homes flooding with sanitary sewage is obviously a very complicated one. And we thought that backflow preventers would solve that issue. For whatever reason, whether they're not being maintained, and this is not being critical of the owners, because you know, like how would they know? They're not working in all cases. So I advise them to talk to a plumber about other steps that they could take. So people have floor drains. Now, floor drains are a very, very good idea to have just in case, you know, you do have, let's say your sump pump does back up and it goes to the floor drain, but that's where this sanitary sewage is coming from the floor drain. So is there a check valve that could be added to that as a secondary precaution? Or there's alarm systems that you can put so that when you are, when you're experiencing some of this backwater problem, there's an alarm that goes off so you know, because in some cases, these backwater valves are working perfectly, but as people continue to use water in their home, they kind of flood themselves out. But if they knew that backwater valve was shut through an alarm, then they could, it's inconvenient, but just, you know, delay the shower for a few hours, for example, or delay the laundry. So there is a couple of things that I think that can be done.
Would you say we're communicating that to folks? I know you mentioned it at the last council meeting. I just like, as folks are checking in, are we sharing that?
Anybody who's called is getting the exact same information.
Okay, super. Thank you. Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay. Oh, thank you. So.
That was a busy one.
It was. Okay, so we're ready to pass this motion. Everybody in favor? Good, thank you. Okay. So we're going to move by Mr. John Van Claveren, second by Mr. Wolfett, that council move into an in-camera meeting,
She's new business.
New business. Anybody got any new business?
Like, don't.
I'm afraid now.
Yeah,
You sure?
no, have amnesia.
Okay, good. Now I could finish this motion. That council move into an in-camera meeting of council pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Item A, litigation matters. Section 239 2E, litigation or potential litigation including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board. Is everyone in favor? Carried. So we're going to move in camera and we'll be back in.
I'm right behind you.
Doug.
I thought that was